Hi there, gorgeous. Hope you're having a fabulous day. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I make videos like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you'd like to be notified of new content in the future, please subscribe, and thank you if you do. Today I'm showing you a full face of foundation techniques I have never tried before. These are coming from professional makeup artists. So these are people who really know what they're talking about and what they're doing. And I came across this article on the internet recently, read through it, and was really intrigued by a lot of these. So I wanted to try them out for you here on camera in a full face application, and we'll find out if any of these are worth trying or not. One of the tips that I read that was utterly fascinating to me that I wanted to try first before we get started here is if you have dry patches on your skin, it said to take a piece of Scotch tape, which is what I'm using here, and use it to press into your skin to get rid of those dry patches. I'm not really sure if I have any right now, but I figured I'd give it a try. I mean, it looked like, you know, it sounds like it's going to work really, really well. You can also do this when you get glitter on your face too. I've done that quite often in the past, which I actually have some glitter on my face right now, surprisingly, so I'll go ahead and take that off. Not really noticing any dry skin coming up for me today, but definitely something that I'll try in the future. And if you struggle with dry patches, they do tend to affect how the foundation looks, so give it a shot. You might be surprised at how well it works. I'm going to go ahead and apply my skincare, and one of the other tips I read, I printed them out here so I have them all here so I don't have to remember all of them because you know that ain't happening. Says to distribute your day cream more on the cheek area rather than the T-zone, and this will help you to avoid midday shininess. So I thought that was a good tip. I'm using the L'Oreal Hydragenius here. And I will apply this on the cheek area only. And I'll avoid the T-zone today just to try something different. This scent reminds me so much of my husband's cologne. I absolutely love it. He wears Hugo Boss. If you're familiar with that scent and you've tried this stuff, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But for the tips I'm getting ready to show you, I am going to be using a full coverage foundation. I don't usually use full coverage foundations on an everyday basis, but a lot of these tips talked about how to make foundations like this appear more natural on the skin, so that's why we're testing this out. And the one that I'm using here is NYX's Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Shade that I'm in is Porcelain, by the way, for reference. The tip I'll be trying next tells you to apply 5 dots of foundation: forehead, cheeks, chin, and neck. On the neck, that's interesting. I mean, I've blended it down to my neck before, but I've never applied it directly to my neck. This is a rather thick, thick foundation, so I'm not going to apply much. I'm gonna do 1 dot there. Was it? No, it wasn't the nose. Old habits are hard to break. And then I'm going to apply it on this cheek, that cheek, chin, and neck. Okay, I would really love to know what happened to my Fenty foundation brush. Jet. A little makeup artist in the making. Okay, then it says to distribute it outward in circular motions. And there's another tip here that says you should be focusing your foundation more so on spots where coverage is needed, like around the nose and the eyes. So I'm not going to do the whole face so much. I'm only going to focus on the areas where I see that coverage is needed, which is usually in the area that was just described. It's really around my T-zone. It's not so much my entire face. And the chin too. I tend to get a lot of redness in my chin sometimes. Isn't it interesting? I don't know why. Well, that is beautiful. Now this is a great foundation on its own, but like I said, it's a little too heavy for me usually, but I really like using that very small amount. Moving on to concealer, I'm taking this one from Hourglass. It's their new Vanish concealer. Another one of the tips says for dimension, apply foundation where you need it, which we already did, and then tap concealer on the bridge of your nose and the tip of your nose and the center of your forehead and chin and Cupid's bow. Okay, so we'll put a little bit on the center of the chin, Cupid's bow, down the bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, and the forehead. And it said tap it, so I'm assuming that we're going to use our finger to blend that in. I find the finger to be the best method for applying concealer. It gives it a better finish. It blends in much better. I am wiping the excess off down here because there's a little bit too much on my chin. So, well, I can definitely see the effect on my chin, but not so much this area so much. It was nice to try. Next tip we're trying out is covering redness or acne with foundation and then concealer. So I have a little bit of spot right there that just appeared recently. It's okay. It knew that we were making this video. This tip also says to use a brush rather than your fingers because your fingers can push makeup aside. It's a good way of looking at it. So what I'm going to do is apply a little bit of concealer on the top of that little mark there. And one of my most favorite brushes for blending things in like this is the e.l.f. concealer brush. It cost me $1 and I love it. I swear by it. I've had it for years and it's excellent for covering things like this. I mean, you can see how instantly that's disappearing. This next one says that a lot of people can have redness and imperfections around their lip line especially, and you can cover them with a little concealer, but be sure not to use concealers that are made for the under eye area because they have light reflecting particles in them. So instead you want to use a regular concealer. And the one that I would recommend to you if you have that kind of issue is this one from No. 7. It's their Lift and Luminate Serum Concealer. This is excellent for under the eyes, even though it's not an under eye concealer, but it's also spectacular around the face all by itself. So I'll go ahead and apply my concealer, and I made a video on this last year where I tried out some tips from Allure on how to stop your concealer from creasing. So if you missed that video, I'll have it linked for you below, but they are tips that I still incorporate today because they work so well. And this next tip comes from Laura Mercier. She says, it is very French to let your skin show through your foundation. So after you've put yours on, press a tissue on top to remove the excess. So I've got a simple piece of toilet paper here, and I'm going to go ahead and press. And this would more than likely make a lot more sense if I had applied more, because I'm not really seeing much come off on this tissue, but something to try if you do use a lot more foundation and you want to tone it down a little bit. Before showing you the next few tips that I have to share, I'm going to apply a contour and blush. And the ones that I'm using here today is one from Tom Ford. This is the Glow Bronzer in the shade Terra. And this is such a beautiful, cool toned contour shade. The blush that I'm using comes from MUA. This is their Rose Gold Blush Duo. I'm taking this really light pink here, applying that softly to the cheeks. Next up, you can set foundation without caking on powder. Separate a 2-ply tissue, place half over your skin, then dust the loose powder on top. This is a tip that I've used in the past when it comes to lips. When you want to mattify a lipstick, you do the same thing. You just take a piece of toilet paper, apply it over the lips like so, and then dust your powder over it, and it not only sets the lipstick, but it can also help to mattify a lipstick that you don't want to be shiny or glossy. So I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter powder, and the shade that I am in is Butter. Powder down in there. All right. When you think about this, this is acting more like a filter on your skin, so it's not going to look like you have powder, even though you are wearing it. Yeah, I mean, I can still see the powder there, but it's not like it usually would look if I had applied it directly. Well, that is very interesting. It does give the skin an airbrushed look, but it didn't take away the dewiness of my skin. Like I still have a little bit of luminosity. It's not fully matte. One of the other things you can try for a more natural appearance if you don't want to use powder, and this works especially well if you have dry skin, but it works on oily skin too, and I've tried it in the past with great success, is instead of using powder to set your face, you can take blotting papers and blot your skin after applying foundation, and it'll take away the excess shine without ruining the foundation, and it still looks like skin. Last tip I want to share with you says to mist a fluffy brush with facial spray. Now it doesn't say what kind of facial spray, so I'm going to be using MAC's Fix Plus and this Pac-Man brush from Wet n Wild that I love. And then you want to press it over your makeup. This includes foundation, blush, contour, highlighter, etc. to make everything look like skin. So let's try that. Not wet, it's just a little bit damp. Press, okay. Press. Ooh, it feels nice though, let me tell you. Well, that is just gorgeous. I am very impressed with all the tips that I shared with you here today. And I mean, you know how I apply my foundation usually. I mean, I powder it and it does look really matte when I'm done. I mean, I'm a 90s kid, no shame. And a lot of the makeup trends from that time stuck with me all these years, and they're ones that I still use today. But I'm not opposed to trying new things, obviously. And I love discovering tips like this that I feel like give your skin a more youthful, natural appearance. And I'm just loving how beautiful this is. So some new stuff for you to try. And I feel like if you had more dry, mature skin, a lot of these tips would be really good for you too. So let me know if you try them out. And if you have any of your own to share, please feel free to do so below also. And by the way, if you were interested in the article where I got a lot of these tips from, I will have it linked for you below. It's a fascinating read, a lot of excellent tips there. I couldn't include every single one. Some of them I have used and tried before in the past, but if you're looking to try something new, it's just a wealth of information there, so definitely check that out. For all the products I used here today, I'll have them listed and linked for you below. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to watch. Feel free to share tips that have changed your makeup routine below, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you. Yes, 10. Very good.
That's Mama.
That's Mama's, yes. I share though. I share with Jet though. Baby boy, I gotta get back to work. Okay, so you gotta go back. Gotta go back in the house, okay? Say bye-bye to everybody. Say bye. All right.